Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Death at Noon's Tech Tips. Today we are going to be covering Xbox One. So this is going to include the Xbox Originals, Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X, or Xbox. Um, so first off, I'm going to be doing this in a little bit of parts. So if there's breaks in it, it's just because I'm kind of recording here and here at work. So, also a weird camera angle because I'm trying to not get a lot of GameStop stuff in. So, alright. So, first off, we'll start off with the Xbox One came out in 2013 in November, if I remember right off the top of my head. I will definitely fact check that and put it down in the description below. Second off, the Xbox One S came out shortly after that, and in 2017, the Xbox One X came out. Um, So what this video is going to be going over is basically the the specs of each system, as well as um, how they fare over time. And obviously, the X hasn't really had the trial of how long it's going to last because it is only 1 year old now. So we will see that over time on how well the the system handles with age. Um, and that's that. So first is the Xbox original. So be right back.
Alright, so the comparison of the Xbox One to the Xbox One S and the Xbox X on the output, all three of them will run 720p, 1080p. Only the S and the X will run 4K. That's not when it comes to the S. The S actually doesn't run your games in 4K. It will upscale if you don't have a 4K TV. It'll actually upscale your games to the maximum of your TV. The X though will play all games that are formatted in 4K in 4K. When it comes to your CPU in the Xbox One, you have in the original Xbox One, you have the AMD Jaguar APU running at a 8 core with 1.75 gigahertz. The Xbox One S has about the same CPU. Couldn't find any good sources to give me what's the gigahertz on it, and I'm pretty sure it's an 8 core because the Xbox One X Scorpio is running, was labeled to have a 2.3 gigahertz 8 core AMD Jaguar. So they just stuck with the AMD and just boosted the gigahertz on it. The GPU, for all you people that don't know what a GPU is, that's your graphics card. The GPU in the original Xbox One was is a AMD Radeon GCN that's running at with 853 megahertz. The One S has the same brand AMD Radeon GCN, but was bumped up to 914 megahertz. The Xbox One X now has still an AMD Radeon, but is now a 6.0 TFLOP, which I couldn't figure out or find any source to tell me what that stood for. Probably could if I did a little bit more research into it or just spent more time on the internet. And that's running at, I believe by the sources I looked into, it has 1,172 gigahertz or 40 CU. On the memory, so your RAM, they're all, so the Xbox One and the Xbox One S are running DDR3. Nowhere gave me a solid factor of what RAM the Xbox One S is running. It's definitely more than 8 gigabytes, because the original Xbox is running 8 gigabytes. So I'm gonna make a estimation. It's probably gonna be 8 gigabytes because just the way how things flow. Because the Xbox One X is running 12 gigabytes with DDR5, which is the newer memory. It's smaller memory sticks basically, but a lot more power behind them for their size, to be honest. Onto the storage, all of them have internal hard drives. None of it's solid state yet, which myself and a lot of other people that I've talked to about this believe that this is where next generation needs to go, is solid state, just for the load time, the size, and the fact that it needs less power. All of them, the Xbox One and the Xbox One S had models that were modified, or not modified, but packaged with a 500 gigabytes hard drive. That went way of the dodo bird. Because 500 gigabytes is not enough for a lot of gamers nowadays, because of installing the games sometimes is 100 gigabytes or so now. Like Fallout is 60, 70 gigabytes depending on what version you have. Red Dead, if you have a physical copy, is 100 gigabytes. If you have a digital copy, it's 150 gigabytes. So that's eating up your hard drive for one game. Not including the stuff that you need that runs it. The 500 gigabyte hard drive is a 500 gigabyte hard drive. It's not, oh, we gave you 500 gigabytes of free storage that doesn't include your, like, the stuff needed to run the system. So, like, your Xbox app, like your home screen stuff, all that is included. Like, every time your Xbox updates, it takes up a little bit more of your hard drive. So what they did was they introduced back in the Xbox One and the Xbox One S, they introduced 1 terabyte hard drives. That's kind of a standard now because of the size. 1024 gigabytes is a lot better than 500 gigabytes. It's obviously double. And then with that, you can also, with USB, you can have up to, I think, 2 or 3. I'm going to say 2, as I've never done more than 2. You can have 2 or 3 external hard drives with a USB 3.0, as long as they're 500 gigabytes or more. Why would you have that much? I would say 2 terabyte, just be safe. Xbox One S did have some special editions, like the Xbox One original had some special editions where there were 1 terabyte. Xbox One S had some very special editions where there were 2 terabytes. And there's only like a certain bundles that have them. And I know for the Xbox One original, like the Forza one, that had, the Forza Blue had 1 terabyte. I think it was the Gears of War had a 2 terabyte, if I remember right. Xbox One X, because it's only a year old, they've only made 3 or 4 bundles with it. They're all 1 terabyte bundles. They haven't done a 2 terabyte bundle yet. It would be nice to see a 2 terabyte bundle for the consumers, because then you just don't have to go out and buy that external hard drive within about 6 months or so, or depending on what games you get and how often you play games, or how many games you play, or how many people are using the system. When it comes to your optical drive, this also does with your output. Your optical drive on your Xbox One only was a Blu-ray/DVD optical drive, and that meant you could play and watch movies in Blu-ray or DVD. With the Xbox One X or S, the Xbox One S, they upgraded it to a 4K Blu-ray to allow you to take that availability of the 4K that was coming out with TVs and monitors, but they still had it where you could still play DVDs because they don't want to inconvenience anybody truly. And then with the Xbox One X, what they did, and it surprised some people, not a lot of people honestly, because not a lot of people were looking into it, but the Xbox One X did something that PlayStation didn't do with their Pro, and we'll get to that in another video, is the Xbox One X went above the Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, and went with an 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, which allows you to play those 4K Ultra movies that you see in Walmart, and you're like, what is this for? How do I play this? And get that Ultra 4K graphics that I barely will notice a difference, but I'll buy it anyway, because it helps. I mean, it putting that extra name in there, yes, there is a thing behind it that, like, yeah, the graphics are better scientifically, I guess, or whatever you want to per se. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't claim to be. But it sells. It definitely sells it to people sometimes when they're like, I'm not sure if I want to buy this movie, but oh look, it's Ultra 4K, and I have an Ultra 4K player with my Xbox One X. Let's try this out. Next, we'll move on to the power supply for Xbox has been an external power block for the longest time. 360s had external power blocks. They started off really bulky, had problems with, and even the original one had problems where if you didn't have it in a convenient, not convenient, but an open space, it would collect dust, and it could, rumors were there sometimes they would actually catch on fire. Other times they would just melt, and the internals will just melt from the heat build up inside because there's no airflow. That went way of the dodo bird with the Xbox One S, and they got rid of the power block, if I remember. Yeah, because it's an internal power source now. And then the Xbox One X is internal power source. And I really like it. Just the fact that I don't have to worry about that block heating up and getting dirty, having clean. That's just one less item when it comes to my gaming systems that I have to go through and clean up and make sure it's not. Because yeah, it means now I definitely have to make sure my Xbox is dirt free, has a lot of room around it, because now the power source is in the inside. But I mean, it's space. The Xbox One X is extremely smaller than the S. So that's the comparison of the three Xbox systems. There's still rumors around when Xbox and PlayStation is going to be bringing out systems. But late last year, they did, both Xbox and PlayStation did make an announcement that they weren't going to be bringing out a system until 2020. With PlayStation then, a couple months later, stating that they weren't going to be bringing out a system until 2021. Rumors have been going around that PlayStation is already like previewing and have their developer kits out so that game companies can get their future, like their 2000 and later, like 2000 and later games formatted for those systems, because they don't want to fall behind the curve. And I can believe Microsoft is doing the same thing with the Xbox Next, whatever the next system for Xbox is. They probably have something in the works. I haven't seen any like crazy, like, this is like how Xbox somebody leaked the Project Scorpio, and everybody was like, oh my god, there's no optical drive, you can't put discs in it or movies in it, what am I gonna do? And then everybody freaked out. So I think they're kind of trying to keep some of those things under wraps. There's probably somewhere on the dark web, or not dark web, but like somewhere on Reddit, which I consider the dark web because it's a hole that you can sink into very easily, like YouTube. Um, but I haven't seen anything because I stay away from Reddit for my own health. um, but when there is a like information leak, I definitely will post my own opinionated review, and also like I'll first go over like what they're talking about. I'll have a photo in the screens so you guys can read it, as well as a link to the of the description in the description of the video to where I got the information from. But that has been my about 10-15 minute brief on the Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X. If you have any questions, I would be more than willingly to answer them through my YouTube channel, and I can then get more videos. I can actually do response videos if you start asking questions, which then you'll see more videos weekly instead of just one video a week. Another thing is, drop comments down below on what you guys want to see next week, because really now that I've covered how to keep your controllers clean, how to keep them in good shape, I've now just covered what's the difference between the Xbox systems. We all know how to keep a system clean, so most of us know how to keep it clean. And I'm not sure if it's a required video, because it would be like 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, unless I start rambling like I kind of am now. But if you guys feel like you want me to go on to Nintendo Switch next instead of PlayStation, or PlayStation instead of the Nintendo Switch, I can do that. I have both. I have some knowledge in PlayStation. I'll have to do a lot more research and consult with a couple people that I know that have been with PlayStation a lot longer than I have. But just definitely drop comments of what you want to see me review next week. This weekend I'm going to be at PAX Unplugged down in Philly, so I'm not going to have I'm going to have some time. I'm going to have a little bit less time this week to prepare for next week's video that I'll try to bring out either Monday or Thursday. This is my Thursday video. I was trying to get this one out earlier in the week because of getting ready for PAX, but this has been a great time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share, and pass it on to your friends. This is great knowledge that if you don't know anything about an Xbox One, now you have a little bit more knowledge. This is Death and Noon, signing out.